Hi, everybody. It's Emma Dowd. I'm the volunteer coordinator at the Hernando Historic and Museum Association, and this video is part of our training series that I have been implementing starting in 2025, and it's going to be going from now on. The idea is to be able to train you guys whenever you want to learn a little bit about something, not only within our museum that you're in, that you generally work in, but all three of them. Now, this particular video is going to be about the guest registration system, which obviously everybody that has been here for the last couple months have known that it has been changing. So I'm going to kind of go over all of this, why we're doing it, how to work it, and try to answer a lot of the questions that you may run into. So here's the thing. I keep hearing, and all of us keep talking about it, how do we get more people to the museum? And as the volunteer coordinator, one of the challenges I get is getting people into our museum. So for me, the problem is this. With no people in the museum, I can't get volunteers to stay. And if there is no volunteers, I can't get people to the museums. So this is the conundrum I'm working with. Now, I want all three of our museums to work and flourish. I want them to be educational. I want people to come in and enjoy the tour as they learn, but also experience something new. I want them to learn about Brooksville. And in order to do so, we need to attract them. And that's what this whole system is about. Now, since we started off a long time ago, each museum is doing a guest sign-in registry when you come walking in. There was a piece of paper there that the guest would have to sign into. Now, the problem with that is that not every guest did so. Another problem with that is that each museum had its own form of this registration system. So not all the information was the same across all three museums. And over the last 2 years, we decided, or I was working with a couple of different people to try to make this uniform and put it into a database that we can use. Now, if we want to get people to our museums, there's a couple things we need to know. We need to kind of know where they're from. We need to have at least a name, and we need to see what museum they came to. Additionally, the other thing that we want to be able to do is to reach them. Now, we can't necessarily demand that information, how to reach them, but we can offer it. And I realized that in some places we offered only the phone number and or email. So you could write one or two in there. A lot of people don't want to necessarily put their phone number in, but they will put their email address in, and they didn't see that they could put their email address in. And if somebody above them does one, they usually follow suit because they're quick. They're trying to get in there really quick and do it just as fast as they possibly can. So we're not getting the information we need. We can't really randomly call people, right? And to randomly text people, you kind of have to go through a lot of, we have to have a specific system that we just don't have. So the phone number is great, but in many ways it's kind of useless for a while. But email is a different story because emails, they can opt out. With a phone number, they have to opt in and opt out to be legally compliant. So the most important thing that we can get is their email address. And the other way that we find out where they're coming from is their zip code. They don't necessarily have to tell us their city. We just need to know the zip codes. So the other problem that I'm running into with this uniformity going throughout all three museums is that when it's handwritten, a lot of the times it's very hard to read. Now, if I can't read that information, for instance, their email address or their zip code because they forget to put it, that entry is useless. And the idea is to reduce the useless information. If they put in their email address, it's going to be typed. We're going to be able to read it. And also, as we're putting it in digitally, I can literally extract that information in one large a query, put in through our database, and then I can upload that into our system. Just that information. I can isolate all this information, which I think is pretty important. So as we're doing this, what we're doing is we're creating a way to market. like I said, everybody's been saying, how do we get more people? How do we reach our community? Well, again, we have to know where they're from and we have to be able to contact them. So by seeing what zip codes we have, we can say, you know what, we get a lot of them from this area, but we don't have a lot of them from this area. So what we can do is we can target our advertising to those areas that we don't have a lot of traffic from. And we can also, again, push towards the areas that we do. What I've been noticing is that most of our people that we get from all of our museums, just doing this over the last 3 or 4 months, have been just strictly Brooksville. We do get some people from outside, so we get a lot of people from Inverness and Citrus County, but we don't have many from Hillsborough. We don't have that many from Pasco. And we need to reach out to those places. That's why the zip codes are so important. Um, Now, the way that we have been marketing has been pretty much done through social media, Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that. So to be able to reach them in ways that we can, for instance, the email address, now we can send out newsletters. Newsletters are so important. And the great thing about newsletters are at the bottom of it, they can opt out if they don't want to receive it. But at least we have the ability to send that to them at least once. They can opt out when they sign in their guest registry simply by saying, no, you cannot contact me through email. And even if they gave us their email, it will, in our query that I run through my database, not allow that to happen. So that one will be excluded. Now, here's the great thing about the email addresses and stuff that we have here. Think about some of the things that we've had. How many people know that during Veterans Day week, we don't charge veterans that served in the Army or any of the armed forces? How many people know that we have all of these different events, the Night of Lights, Heritage Day, um, Metaphysical Mingle that we've had, the haunted house, these types of things. We want people to come. And if we do have new things, like last year we had the LaFrance 100th birthday for the fire truck at the train depot, how do we get the word out? This is why this is so important. Because not only do we keep a base on people that have come in the past for other things, but also we're going to be able to reach new people about things that they didn't know. Because it's like maybe a one-time event, like the LaFrance fire truck birthday. Memberships. How many people know we take memberships? How many people know that we have a honor walk? These are things we can push out inside of our newsletters. Each museum can write something up each month or anytime that we do it about things that are happening within those museums. We want to entice them. And we're also going to be doing special like exhibits. We have the Roots Run Deep. We have the last year we had at the May Stringer, we had the Patsy Jack exhibit and the gentleman that was part of that. We have the wedding outfits, the wedding gowns and stuff that are at the May Stringer. We have all of these things. We want to be able to get people to them. So again, this is why this is so important. We're not just doing this to make more work for people. We're making it so that way it's easier and we can benefit from it at all three museums. Now, let me show you how this works. So I don't have one of the tablets in front of me, but each tablet has our app. So this, I'm going to now share my screen. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through how we get to the app. So let's pretend this is the desktop of our tablet inside of each museum. And it kind of looks like it anyway. You're going to look for this app right here, the one at the very bottom left, and it says HHMA Forms. Now, click on it as you would on your desktop. As you see, there are a bunch of forms here, and those forms are designed for specific needs. We have the guest register, the number one. We have the time off notice, number two. We have the volunteer sign in, number three. We have the release of liability, number four, and we have volunteer applications. These are the main ones that you'll run into throughout the day or through generalized situations that you might run into at special events or whatever we're doing. So let's start off with the guest register, and I'll go over the other ones in a few minutes. You would just click the guest register, and here's our guest register as it comes up. Now, our guest register is not museum specific. It is generic for all three of our museums. And you can see down here under the museum tours where they can choose where they went to that day. And that's important because we want to know what museums that they have been visiting. And I can get counts for each museum. For instance, let's just say they went to the train depot. At the end of the month, I can literally extract how many people went to the train depot, which is pretty cool. So that way we know that we're getting more people here. We got less people this month. Now, the one thing that is absolutely mandatory is the date. But I do realize that on a tablet or even your phone, you got to switch keyboards. So I made this very simple. It has the date populated already and the time that they came in. You don't have to put that in. Now, you see this little red dot here. Everything that is absolutely mandatory for them to be able to save it and submit it is right here on the museum tour, is right here in this little red dot. So going through here, the first thing we're going to come to is the museum tour. What museum tour did they do that day? And it even has the ghost tour because we want them to be able to sign in with the ghost tours as well. So let's just say they went to the May Stringer. So we click the May Stringer. Now, we need at least one guest name. Even if they come in with a bunch of different people, we have at least one guest. And that's right here. As you can see again, red dot. If they come in with more people than kids, they can put their names directly underneath it. They don't need to create a different line for each person anymore. Here's the email. Again, it is not checked red because of the fact that it's not mandatory. We want them to do so. Phone number, same thing. We want them to do so. City, same thing. We want them to do so. Now, if they are not in a state, let's just say they come from Canada, it's a Providence, they can say Canada or they could say the Providence. In the zip code, though, it is different. So we don't take foreign zip codes. What we do take is state zip codes, United States zip codes. Now, if they are from a different country, all they have to do is put in 00000, 5 numbers. That's all that they need to do. But something has to be there because this is where we market to. Obviously, people in Canada, they're probably not going to want to see all the things that we have going on because when are they going to come back here again? Now, adults in the party and children in your party, this is very important. This is where we get the counts. Now, each adult in the party would be represented here. We have to have at least one. So when you open this up, you'll see that there is at least one adult. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having a tour that day, right? Now, they can pick up to, I believe it's 40. Yes, 40 people. And with the children, when they click that, if they don't have children, don't worry because they just click 0 children. But if they do have children, we can go ahead and mark how many children there are. And again, we have 40 there. The other thing that they find out is how do you find us? They can type in if they want to. They don't have to if they don't want to. And if they did sign in with their email, they have the option down here, may we contact you? Okay. May we contact you? No. If they click no, they will not be contacted because it will extract that information. It will omit anybody that hit 0, that hit no. Now we're going to go ahead and submit. Uh-oh, there are 4 errors on the page. Please correct them before moving on. And it's going to highlight everything that they missed. So now they're going to have to go through there and make those selections. And this is only on the information that we do require. So over here we'd hit, like I said, we went to the May Stringer, you put in their name. And then we also didn't put in a zip code. And we didn't put in how many children they have. Now, when we do that, you would then hit save. I'm just doing that here. They don't have to hit save. But as you can see, all the errors are fixed, and now it's ready to submit. Now, once they submit it, it goes to the HHMA Volunteer Coordinator Gmail account. So I get a copy of each one of these things. It also goes into a database online that collects all this information and it stays there. It also sends one of these to the Google Drive on this particular email. So if I'm not the volunteer coordinator anymore, uh, anybody else can go in there and get this information and do this particular procedure. Now, we're not going to actually save this because obviously it's something that we have, we're not saving, it's just a test. So I'm just going to hit back. And when you hit back on the top of your tablet, it's going to go to the same thing. It's going to go back here. Now, sometimes we get a bunch of people coming in and we only have one tablet. So we don't want to delay the sign-in process. On each table where you have the tablet, there is a little QR2 code. What I would suggest doing is showing that to everybody and have them scan it with their phone and they can sign in directly from their phone. So they don't have to use the tablet. If our internet happens to go down for some reason, um, they can sign in that way. Now, you wouldn't be able to use these other things, but that's okay. The most important part for our guests coming in is the guest register. Now, let's talk about these real quick. So, this is going to be more on the back end of our days. The time off notice. A lot of the times throughout the years that I've been the volunteer coordinator, people send me text messages. And unfortunately, we have further conversations after that. So if I'm not able to sit down and physically write it wherever I am, I could be in the phone, I could be in the car, I could be at a job, I could be out shopping, I'll reply back to that. Now, when I go back to look, a lot of the times I don't see the time off notice anymore. What I see is our last conversation. So I have a hard time figuring out who that person was. Now, what I would do now is come into this tablet here, click on time off notice, and it gives me your name, the phone number, the day that you want that you're going to be off, and the day that you'll be coming back, the day that you volunteer on, and the museum that you're volunteering at. Click that. I'll be able to record that because it comes as an individual email. So when I get home, I see that I have that email and I record it into our calendar. And that way I know that I will reach out to either the lead, if you're not the lead for that day, I will reach out to the museum managers, or I will start to look for other people that could potentially come in and volunteer for that day. So that way we don't have anybody shorthanded for that particular museum. And if I can't find somebody, generally I will come in and do it as long as I don't have anything to do myself. Now, let's go back here. We're going to go to the volunteer sign-in. I'm doing the volunteer sign-in now differently because of a different reason. So you come in, you sign your name, you tell me what museum you're at and how many hours you're going to be working there that day. Obviously, it is an estimate. It's not a finalized situation unless you do it at the end of the day, which you can. Now, the reason we do this is because we document how many volunteer hours we have throughout our organization. This is also good for certain things like grants and stuff like that as well. So as you're doing this, what it allows me to do is I can give you an accurate count of how many people, of when you worked there, what museum you worked at, and how many hours you have for each month and the entire year. Last year, I've had two people say that to me because they needed the volunteer hours for them to be able to put in for college. They also, and they forgot to get the printout for that. They also maybe just need it because they're working on certain things. You know, sometimes people use it for college applications. Sometimes people use it for different reasons. It's not necessarily correctional. And I can get you this information now. I'll just put in the information, say, okay, for me, I'm Emma. So Emma needed to know how many hours they volunteered at the Maystringer last year in 2025 for the month of November. I can do that. Or Emma needs to be able to find out how many hours she worked at for the entire organization all the way throughout. Great.
Mm.
We're going to do that as well. And I forgot it. I'm going to be putting in the event over here as well. So if you worked an event, you can sign in how many hours you have. And that can also go towards your total hours as well.
Mm.
So that's going to be a new feature that I'm going to be putting in and implementing as soon as possible into 2026 here. Now, release a liability. We always had the release a liability. The only difference is that it's digital. It's the exact same form. We have the same wording right
Mm.
here at the very top. But because of the fact we are a different type of museum, not all of our stuff is behind glass. Me and Autumn worked together to work on the artifact and furnishings disclaimer. And so this new section here was written by her, which says, for the purpose and
Mm.
preservation of the Hernando Historical Museum Association's collections, visitors are strictly prohibited from touching, handling, or otherwise making contact with any of the artifacts or exhibits, and from sitting upon or using any historic furniture, unless expressly authorized by the museum staff. These items are significant historical and monetary value, and any damage, deterioration, or loss resulting from noncompliance may subject the responsible party to financial liabilities. By executing this waiver, the undersigned expressively acknowledges these restrictions and agrees to abide by them as a condition of entry. So if it's just one person, they sign, and these have to be signed individually. It's the name, last name, phone number, and signature, and the date. Now, if this person up here is a minor under the age of 18, the parent or guardian signs there with that date, and at the end, the museum representative would normally sign as well. Now, the museum representative can sign sight unseen, or what they can go ahead and do is it can be signed later if need be. Now, I can print each one of these because I get the full version of this. It also goes into the database. So we used to keep these for about 6 months and then delete them. Now I can permanently archive them in a folder saying this was 2025 and what have you. Now, this is not necessarily museum specific because if something happens, we can reach out for their name, look up their name, and find out when they signed this and what have you. And last thing is the volunteer applications. We've been using this for 2 years now. And what this allows you to do, this is the generic one for all our museums. But I do have one specifically made for each museum. So what I want to do is what I realized with this is everybody knows about the May Stringer, and that's usually the one that they go to or the ghost tours. But what we're not getting enough of is people at the other two museums. So in order to try to push this out and not let them think about the other two museums if they don't want to, we have a museum specific one. So up here, when it comes down to the museums, where is that? Oh, here it is. Okay, so it has the Maystringer gift shop, the 1885 train depot, the Countryman one room schoolhouse, and ghost tours. Each one, like for the Maystringer, it has Maystringer and ghost tour. Um, because of the fact that we do have ghost tours there. And we also have ghost tours at the depot. So the depot has one as well. For the schoolhouse, it just has schoolhouse here. For the depot, it just has the depot and ghost tour, and vice versa. And then they go ahead and sign at the bottom. Now, for any of these forms that need signature, I do have some of these little I forgot what they're called. They're like little um, styluses at each museum. There's two of them, so people can use it that way. So that's basically how you use this guest register. Again, I can also have each one of you guys download this particular um, app to put on
Mm.
your phone. So you can do your time off notice. You can do your volunteer sign in right from your phone. And if you want to do that, I will put a link in the description of this particular video. So now I'm not going to share the um, I'm not going to share my screen anymore, but I'm going to be going over a couple other things as well to kind of show you guys why we have to do what we have to do. This is the volunteer sign-in sheet. I don't know if you can see it. This one happens to be for the May stringer. Okay. This is an entire year. Now, what I have to do is I have to go in there and find each person's name and write out how many times they have been there that month and then calculate that. Why would I want to do that? Why would you guys want to do that? I don't want to put that on anybody. And each one of these takes about 4 hours worth of work. This is why I'm using the volunteer application, the volunteer sign-in form, because it puts it in there and I just extract the information. I don't have to physically go in there and type something in. Now, all three museums have this as well. So this is very important for us to be able to move forward. And the same thing with the guest registration. If you would have seen some of the things that I have been through, um, it's very hard to get all that information because not everybody writes correctly, like I said. So this is the example of why I'm doing what I'm doing because this version is useful, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of time that not everybody has. We are all volunteers. So we got to find the extra time when we have nothing to do to be able to go through here and do this. But yet this information is very important for our museum's future, for our museum's functional situation, for the board member to be able to make decisions and so much more. So whoever's going to be working on this, which is me right now, this is what I have to do. So I'm just trying to eliminate a lot of extra time for people that would be potentially doing this in the future because I've done it and I know the challenges. So with cooperation for all of our volunteers, we're going to make this museum even better. We're going to be able to get people in. We're going to be able to target things. We're going to be able to push out our events more and so much more. And it's going to be so much easier for everybody. So that's our training here. If anybody has any questions on this, you can absolutely reach out to me. I would be more than happy to help you. If there is a problem with with any of the tablets, let me know. The Depot and the Schoolhouse have Android, while the Maystringer has a Apple tablet. So two different functions. If you don't know how to work one of them, that's fine. I will be there to help you, and I will get it back on track for you. So until the next one, we have coming up. I hope everybody has a great day. I hope everybody's enjoying working at our museums, and let's keep the history going.